We've got the matters of race number 4 here on day number 1 of the Oracle San Francisco Sail Grand Prix, as all 11 teams now are into the box and ready to go. 35 seconds. And Stevie, I wonder if everyone has learned where to go and when to pull that trigger, because it seems like everyone's problem has been too early to the line.
Yeah, and it's Italy and Canada that are going to have to go slow from here. North Star Canada have been on fire today, but they need a good start. USA a better position towards the top of the screen this time, and out the back it's Rolex timing that's going to be totally crucial here. See, middle of the line, the Rolex pole predictor 6 on Canada. It's Italy in the middle of the line. Emirates GBR, but Delapierre on board France again. He's going to thread the needle. Watch for that learn to turn white.
And a great start for the Americans. Perfect time for Taylor Canfield to get to that line on time, but it is France once again, the winners of race number 1, and they figured it out. Quentin Delapierre very aggressive in that box in the first 3 races, and this time it pays off again like race 1 as they approach Mark 1, and it will be the French that will have the lead.
Yeah, great work there. The US team are going to slide around the outside. They've got a good position here. They haven't got the right of way, though. They're going to have to go all the way into the boundary to get space. Black Foils are giving themselves a chance now, and look how tight it is in the pack. Mubadala Brazil, good call, moving away early here, and expect New Zealand to decide to turn early as well.
France are your Rolex sprint leaders, and here we go. All right, Hannah Diamond, whose position do you like best?
Well, I think the French are positioned really nicely. Biggest change from the last race, I think the wind's definitely picked up. They're sailing much further down the ladder lines, and you can see the water's much darker where they've got more wind there.
The breeze looks good there, and I think what's interesting here is North Star Canada are going to maneuver, and they're going to come back at the US. They're going to really pressurize USA's next maneuver, so it will be tight at the bottom here as we see the Oracle Cloud giving us the live speeds there. We see France are quick, no surprise. They're out in front in clear wind. The United States are going to have a tough call to make coming into gate 2. They need to nail this maneuver now. Canada turn, New Zealand turn and get a bit loose. It's all about accuracy in these last few meters to gate 2. US stick the maneuver well there, Todd.
So Taylor Canfield now sits in 3rd place for US SailGP, a team desperate in need of a win or a top 3 finish. It is France, though, that opts for the right-hand side. North Star Canada follows them, and US SailGP just ahead of the Black Foils, the Kiwis, with the Aussies right behind them. Oh, the Americans!
Oh, the US team, they've had an absolute howler on that bottom roundup. They got too high, they got loose, they parked it. Somehow Burling and the Black Foils managed to miss around the outside. The Australians went flying around the outside of them, and they're now going to be way at the back of the pack again. It's getting loose with this breeze filling in.
Very limited, it's kind of going.
So the Americans were sitting in 3rd, and they absolutely come to almost a complete stop. They are now dropping back to 8th place. Meanwhile, on the other side of the course, it is Spain and Mubadala Brazil having their own little battles. We go back and look at this one more time, Stevie. Just when you thought they've turned the corner, this is going to be a big moment, what happened?
Yeah, hard moment on the flight control there. Hans Henken, he's in the right-hand screen, as they turn out, they just get too high, and they don't control the timing. Not enough horsepower going in on that wing to sheet it back in. It gets real high, real loose. They actually do a good job getting the wing there, but they just get too high, slip sideways massively, lose all the grip on the foil, and that's just so much discipline. Look, they're back. It's a great start. They were 3rd place, they're 11th. Mistakes hurt you so badly, and that's just opened the door now for teams like Spain, teams like Australia. They take hold of that opportunity, and the Black Foils, they're showing in 3rd right now. Good move for them. They need a big race here.
Possibly looking at a 4th different winner in 4 races. It was France, Canada, and Spain winning the first 3. Will it be Australia? Will it be New Zealand coming through to get a win here? They look best positioned right now, Hannah, from this perspective.
Yeah, they look really nicely positioned, and we know that they can sail the boat really well, so it's going to be about choosing the right strategy. This gate at the top, I think, is going to be critical because the fleet is still really compacted, so who can find space and the shortest distance around the course.
All right, we go down on the course. Lisa Darmanin has the best view. Lisa, where's the pressure? Where do you want to be, and which side do you think they're going to opt for?
Well, the wind has picked up across the course. I actually think before it wasn't very good to go out to sea away from the shoreline, but I think right now there is pressure out there, so I expect the French to turn right here.
See, good wind on the French boat here at the moment. Right now, it looks pretty good. New Zealand are going to turn all 4 boats. Oh, the New Zealand team, oh, they lost the rudders a bit through the middle of that turn. That was a poor manoeuvre. I think they'll be able to recover quick enough. Yeah, look, they're up and foiling again, no problem. They're going to be clean, but now it's Spain are going to be the first boat to manoeuvre away. Australia have got to be sure they're ahead. Oh, it's tight in the pack, yeah. Spain are going to be the interesting one. See how Spain do relative to New Zealand and Australia here to see where the gain is on the racetrack.
Yeah, with the Kiwis oil there, it caused the Australians to slow down like a parked car in front of them, and so Spain at full speed came in up for the inside line. They head closer to shore, but it's still France out in front, the winners of race number 1. Canada in second, the winners of race number 2.
Yeah, Spain were over 80 kilometers an hour out of that turning there with the left turn. It's going to be New Zealand and Australia with the right of way. North Star Canada here, they've got the right of way here, but they've got a little bit of work to do if they can hope to catch the French. I think for them now, this late on in the race, they're going to just try and keep it simple, hang on to a second, and end what would be a great day. Big lefties. Talking about the wind's changed angle. It started blowing more from the top right of our screen. It's rotated to blow off that shoreline, and you can see they're nearly sailing straight down the ladder lines here. It's actually going to give France a tricky decision to make at the bottom. Do they do an extra manoeuvre and head back towards that side, or do they open the door for the boats behind? Big game for Spain. Spain did find more wind. They cross ahead of New Zealand.
So at the bottom of the course is France that goes for that left-hand side. Canada, they're going to opt for the right-hand side, and it looks like Spain is heading that way as well. They'll have to contend with the black foils, the Kiwis, and the Kiwis will spin it around. Australia will opt for the same side as France. So now you've got 5 boats fighting really for that winning position.
That was a really, really good manoeuvre by the black foils there. They had to do a double eagle jibe, they call it. They put both boards in the water, turned twice, flip-flopped around it. So easy to get that wrong. They made it stick, and they've now got control over the Spanish. I thought it was going to be opportunity for Spain. Perfect execution by the black foils.
This is leg 5 of 6 in the final race of the day. They're heading up to the top of the course on the right side of your screen. Then it'll be a left-hand turn, a quick shot to the finish line, and someone's going to take the win here. And right now, it looks like France, but look at Canada closing the gap.
Potentially just one more manoeuvre for Canada as well, do you think, Hannah?
Yeah, it's going to be close. If we look further up the course, we'll be able to see whether they can just do one more manoeuvre, because they just need to turn left at this top mark, and that could really make the difference, because France will definitely have at least 2.
So Stevie, is this something that was set up 2 gates ago, or is this just at the last gate?
Yeah, exactly. That big wind shift made it a really hard. You either had to do a very hard manoeuvre like we saw New Zealand do, or take the simple manoeuvre as the French did. But the trouble with the simple manoeuvre, they saved an option at the bottom of the course, but they're going to give them an extra manoeuvre later on. It's always that compromise. You try and plan ahead, but in planning ahead, you probably give yourself a little bit of a problem later. So Canada's going to have the right of way. France are going to be on the inside. It's going to be really tight. It's all about execution of these manoeuvres here. Canada set up.
On course, France still has the lead, but this is going to be close. Remember, Canada's going to come in hot. They stay on the foil, so it'll be a straight shot to the gate for them.
I'm out for the boy. Let's get the pace on first. Right.
You can hear the tension rising a little bit on board the Canadian boat there.
I think France is far enough ahead here, Top, but they've got to stick the manoeuvre. They're going to spin in front. They're going to put disturbed air onto them. Perfect. That's a great manoeuvre by the French.
Happy that all the Canada.
Yes, Paul Campbell-James talking about higher mode. He's talking about sailing a little bit closer to the wind. Let's sail a bit slower, but try and minimise the distance. Oh, France making an error here. Well, they've opened the door.
Yeah, they have. Look at the speed.
Canada. He's coming. He's Elongage. He's going to try and get over that. Oh, that mistake's going to cost the French. North Star Canada are going to get it done, Todd.
The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Canadians for the 2nd time today, just edging ahead of the French.
Oh, I can feel her pain. That manoeuvre there, they just got it all wrong, the French. They'd judged it so well, they'd shut the door, but they just didn't execute it properly. New Zealand come home 3rd. Australia are going to take 4th. Spain 5th. The points are going to be so tight, and a great final race for Mubadala Brazil. Marcini Grail and team there, they've held the whole race together. As we see, bottom of our screen, Emirates Great Britain off the foils, and the wheels are coming off for them at the end of today. They've not had a great day, and they're struggling to get round this with the current against them. Could be more manoeuvres to do. Don't expect to see the Emirates GBR way at the back of the pack. Oh, this is a howler for the British team. Look at that head in the hands there, Nick Hutton. He is not happy.
Over on points. Yep. Gonna get stuck on this mark.
Oh.
Back.
Remarkably calm. We've all been there, haven't we? That's an absolute shocker. We've maybe not all been there on live TV, but that is an absolute disaster for Emirates Great Britain. Little mistakes in that thing is going to cost, and it's not been a great first day for them. They got a lot of work to do overnight.
Emirates Great Britain started off in race number 1 with a decent showing in 8th place, and then 2nd in race number 2, a 4th in race number 3. They're going to get an 11th in race number 4, so this will be difficult as Red Bull Italy comes through in 10th. And Emirates GBR still on the course. They will finish in 11th. So day 1 of racing is now complete. Right out of the gate, it is France and Spain getting together for just a little bit of a hello, how do you do? 1 minute to go before the start of race number 4. We'll have one more race after this. It'll be fleet race number 5, and then only the top teams on the season overall standings will race off for $2 million. So Stevie Morrison, what's your flavor? Where would you want to be right now?
Well, the French have been very aggressive into the start there already with the Spanish, but I wonder if they've made it a little bit too difficult for themselves. Are they going to be able to get back into this mix-up in time? They sailed so well yesterday, but yeah, tangling themselves up with the Spanish. Certainly not the Spanish out of routine, but it's all about the timing. Back to the line now. New Zealand, top of our screen. They've got some space. Denmark and Great Britain are well positioned here. Just 16 seconds to go, and we still can't see the French or the Spanish on the screen just yet. Pole position predictor puts it on Slingsby's Australian boats, but can he roll round the top of the Americans? Here he comes on board Australia. It's going to be New Zealand at the top of the line at full pace. How's your timing, Peter Burling? Oh, he got a bit early there. It's a perfect start from Australia. Canada are going to be fast on the inside, and there's no sign of France or Spain.
As they approach mark number 1 of race number 4 here on Championship Sunday. On the inside, it's Phil Robertson and the Canadians. On the outside is Tom Slingsby and the 3-time champions Aussies.
Oh, Todd, look at the right-hand side of our screen. That's the French absolutely out the back of the pack, and there in front, the Spanish are off the foils. Oh, my word, the Spanish are miles behind here as Canada lead away at Mark 1, chased down by Australia and New Zealand. But the story's at the back of the pack here. Can the French work their way back through the fleet?
As the fleet sails away with France in 9th, the big winners on day number 1, still no sight of Spain.
Now, really interesting here, because the French drop back to 9th place, in order to take out the Spanish, that actually flip-flops their season position.
So despite the fact, Emily, that Spain is in dead last and France is in 9th, Spain would go into the grand final.
Exactly, so it's really important here for the French to climb up through the fleet and gain a few more positions.
It's not going to be easy. The French in 9th place. Stevie, I got to wonder what happened with Diego Botín, knowing that that might have been one of the most important starts of the whole season for them.
Well, I'd say, yeah, I mean, I think we could get very confused with all of the logistics of that today. We've got this side of our screen here. That will tell us, as a fact, who's going to get through to the final. So we don't want to overcomplicate things. Fundamentally, we've got a 5-race event that we're in now. I'm surprised the French were that aggressive, because I feel it's more important for them to try and stay first than worry about putting the Spanish back a little bit. But as we get to gate 2, Canada, what a result for Phil Robertson, leading the fleet round, and the Australian boat's ahead of the Kiwi boat again. We've got a grand final coming up soon. Great Britain on the inside, they got the right way. Canada, a little bit loose there on the left turn, but they've got it under control again. That's the bottom end of the course, the downwind end. That's where Lisa said it was a bit choppier, a bit rougher, harder to control the boats.
And from the wind data as well, we've seen it's actually gustier down there as well. Already, since the boats have been out, we've seen gusts as high as 40 kilometers an hour. So during these roundups...
Germany putting it.
Okay,
they got it back.
It is a lot of power hitting that wing, and they've got to depower quickly.
Look how well that's gone for the French, though. There, look at that. They stayed on the foils, executed the manoeuvre well, and I think as soon as you are overpowered like this, race the course, race your boat efficiently, and try and be smooth, because you're just going to gain easy meters.
France has just gone from 9th into 6th place. You look to the left-hand side, that means that France will be in the grand final, and Spain now has moved up into 9th place as they have overtaken the Germans. Meanwhile, it's Australia now in 1st place as they have gone past Canada.
Yeah, tight course here, and it's interesting as we see out of that bottom of the course there, heading towards the San Francisco shoreline, has been a gain on that one for Australia. Big gain versus Canada, although Canada did make a slight mistake with the rounding. Yep. Mistakes matter today, Todd. You've got to sail the boat smoothly.
Coming up, Kelly.
And is this a case of seeing Tom Slingsby and his crew coming together at the right time and getting the momentum as they'll go into the grand final?
So as Stevie mentioned, yesterday we had more pressure in along the shoreline, and that's what we're seeing here. 37 kilometers an hour for the French team, less for the Spanish. Not good news for them.
Let's find out about the conditions right now. Lisa Darmanin, since we talked to you about, what, 5-10 minutes ago, have the conditions changed at all? And where's the sweet spot on this massive San Francisco course?
The wind is a little bit more left than we saw yesterday, which means this San Francisco shoreline, it's funneling down here, the wind is accelerating, and it's also flatter water over this side. So I think that's why this side is paying, but we did see a lot of current. So there's this big tide coming from the Golden Gate Bridge down the course, pushing the sailors down the course. So I think that's another reason why they're all coming to the shoreline. But I mean, this racing is still pretty gusty out here, opportunities, but Australia's in control of this race.
Yeah, Australia way out in front. Their lead over 100 meters over Canada, who's moved back into second place. Phil Robertson, after a little bit of a messy rounding, has righted the ship, and third place now belongs to Giles Scott and Emirates GBR, with the Danes sitting in fourth.
We can see there the blue marks on the screen here. That's indicating the current, so it's moving down the course. They're effectively trying to sail up the treadmill at the moment. It's a little bit slower going upwind. Of course, it's going to take them away down the course quicker, but Australia are in a great position. France are moving through the fleet, but it's still such a tight battle in there that any slight error, any slight misjudgment in your lineup into this gate, New Zealand have a tricky decision to make now. Can they get ahead of those boats they were close to in Australia? Well, when you're out in front, they make it look pretty smooth.
Pete Burling turns right in front of Canada.
Oh, yeah, it's going to get tight for them.
3 wide.
Oh, and it's so tight. Canada have got to keep clear, but New Zealand are going to be really slow into this mark. Surprised he didn't choose to go behind there, to be perfectly honest. He's going to lose a lot of places on that. And France could be third after this rounding. Unbelievable from Delapierre. Perfect choice there. Look how slow, top of our screen, Denmark and New Zealand are. And the French slingshot round. It's playing out perfectly for the French at the moment.
And unfortunately for Spanish, it's a very tight ley line here to make that top gate. So sailing quite slow, 47k an hour, trying to make the mark.
So while Spain was mired back in 10th place, it wasn't that big of an issue because France was right in front of them ninth. But the French have now moved up into 6th place, make that 4th place, as Quentin Delapierre and team had a tremendous day yesterday, and now they're picking up right where they left off. Stevie, that is going to be massive if they stay in the top 5.
Well, and the way they turned at that last mark, when they come back and meet the other boats, they'll have the right of way. Here they go. This is the pack here. This could be the French moving all the way up to just behind Denmark or even ahead of Denmark. They look like they'll be ahead of Denmark to me. 3rd place in a moment for the French, because all those boats coming away from the right of our screen to the left of our screen have got to keep clear. Delapierre's picking the course perfectly so far.
Here's the question now. Is France in the position they're in right now, Stevie? Do they have to make another maneuver before the next gate?
Yeah, they do, Todd. You can see left-hand side of the screen, those circles, they're just not quite aiming down at that. So unless they get a shift in the wind, which will change their angle, and at the moment, the dice seem to be rolling in the favour of the French, don't they? So maybe anything's possible. But yeah, I think what I like about what the French are doing, they're keeping themselves in space. If you look at New Zealand, Denmark, Great Britain, they were all tight together. You're normally slowing yourselves up with that, whereas France are in space, and they've just got that pedal to the metal.
They are going to have to go for a left turn here, which, as we saw in the previous upwind, wasn't the favoured. So it's whether they take an extra manoeuvre to go right, and there they go for it. Sensible.
Oh, but it's going to be a tricky manoeuvre. That big wing, you can't get slow with it. If you get slow, the load goes through the roof. They're going to lose a lot of distance here, but they'll probably still be in 3rd. But in the back of the pack there, look how tight it is. There's plenty of boats for the Spanish to potentially get past here. Everyone's slow again at the bottom.
Absolute sig alert at the bottom of the course, and here comes Spain. They're going to pick up some positions as the Americans split and go the other way. For some reason, Spain decides to join the fray. We've got 5-6 boats on that side, all just packed in tightly.
I think it's just a really good lesson so far at the bottom of the course here. Anyone that's been and done a sail,
French are
for the French are off the foils, and the Spanish are within 50 metres of them now. France are struggling to get things under control, and Spain are going to get a lovely gap as they head out towards that boundary. But I think what a great lesson there. Do the basics well. Everyone made a mistake at that bottom mark. All you've got to do is turn the boat up into the wind. Not the hardest thing they'll do all day, but it can cost you a lot of metres if you don't give it the respect it deserves.
Meanwhile, Australia is gone. They have checked out completely from this race. They have pretty much locked up their spot in the grand final, as has New Zealand, who came in with their position already secured. The battle is on for one final spot in the final race of today. That is the grand final for $2 million. New Zealand's in. Australia is pretty much in. It'll either be France or Spain that will join them.
Yeah, right now the French are still ahead of the Spanish, but the French are right in that group, and it's going to get tricky for them. They will have the right of way when they pull this next manoeuvre off. Spain have got to watch out and keep clear, because don't be at all surprised if Delapierre's aggressive in his manoeuvring at the Spanish now.
Really close, stuck behind the Kiwi team there.
Spain's got to keep clear, the Spanish set up. Okay, so the French now back in control, but they've lost a lot of points relative to the Spanish here, which could be costly. But more important for them is how can they finish in this event? They need to get past the Danish. I'd say that could be absolutely crucial, and it's a boat speed race back towards the shore.
If they were to finish in these current positions, France would stay on top of the leaderboard and Spain would be in 7th place, which wouldn't be enough to put them into the season final. But the point gap means they could still make it in the next race.
But the win in race number 4 will go the way of the Australians, and now they have locked up their spot in the grand final. The 3-time reigning and defending champions win the first race on Sunday, so they get the 10 points. And coming in 2nd place will be Canada. Phil Roberts and his crew doing a masterful job.
Oh, it's so tight in the pack though, Todd. New Zealand have turned directly in front of the French. Spain, they were in a tussle with the British. This is a brilliant race here. Spain have done their last manoeuvre towards this final turning mark. France will have one more manoeuvre to do, and they're in behind the New Zealand crew. It's going to be really tight coming in here. France have got to nail this manoeuvre. Can they get inside that circle? I don't think they can. They've got to keep clear.
Too close.
It's going to be a crash. Oh, no.
We got a collision.
It could be a capsize. Oh, they've managed to invert the wing. They're going to be okay, but there probably was damage there, and I don't know if they were in that yellow circle. Oh, they only have the right of way if they're inside the circle. But look, here come the Spanish. Diego Bultini, he's going to be aggressive here. France must keep clear. Oh,
Spain need to get these points. They need to just cross the line.
You can hear the tension out there. I think it's better for them to make the French do badly, personally. I kind of think you want to get the French down. There's some fever
I think
on
the
board.
French are doing that themselves.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know what it means to the sailors out there, I think we're getting a little bit of an insight to it. It's been a pretty good sporting day for the Spanish so far today.
Oh, my word.
And that was pretty good comeback there.
In the final 30 seconds, France goes literally from into the grand final to making contact.
Here we go, we're on board the French. Now, they've got to keep clear. And Delapierre, I don't know what happened with the communication, but they just got way too close there with the Danish. It was as if there was a miscommunication. Port tack France, yeah, they fouled starboard tack Denmark. Basics, really. Had they been 5 meters to the left, they would have had the right of way in there, but they got it wrong. You can see the rudder, they've snapped the bottom off their rudder. Look, back of screen there.
They won't even be able to make the next race.
They're going to be out of the race, that's it.
Such a good save by the wing trimmer, though, getting to that invert button.
Look at this.
Oh. Doesn't really need words, does it there, if you're a French fan? Absolute disaster, really.
On the final leg of the first race on Sunday, with France in a fight for their life, they make contact with the Danes. So here we go as we get ready. Stevie, Hannah, this is going to be very interesting. We've got some great action out there. And again, Hannah, 12 boats in a very tight track.
A really tight track, and with the wind speed being up so much from yesterday, it's going to feel very different on board.
Under 60 seconds, and now the dance begins here on the Hudson as they get themselves into position into the start box.
Well, yeah, crucial times now, and we saw yesterday teams were struggling in this pre-start. So first race of the day, new wind, new course setup. It's always quite hard to get yourself lined up. Be interesting to see the team strategies. USA and Spain early to turn back should mean they've got a better judgment of their distance to the line, but will they be able to accelerate in? 33 seconds to go, and now the black foils towards the downwind end of the line. They look like they've got a good controlling position. They're going to be just watching out for Mubadala Brazil and Germany making a late charge in underneath them here, defending move by the New Zealand crew. They try and block the Germans, and now they work their way up, squeezing the fleet above them. Rockwool Denmark to the left of the screen. They've got space. How can they time it from that top end of the line, though? It's going to be hard. They'll have a fast angle to Mark 1. Won't be easy to control the Rockwool Denmark boat with the foils there. Here go New Zealand. Here come Mubadala Brazil. Now it's timing, and it's a drag race from here. Brilliant start by the Spanish. Great from Denmark as well, but they're going to struggle to keep those fast foils in the water on this reach to Mark 1. The Bond flying roos are flying too high there.
So as they approach mark number 1, this is fleet race number 4, and once again, it is the Spanish showing everyone their tail lights.
Oh, Botín and crew, what a job they've done on that first leg there. Joel Rodriguez, the flight controller, hats off to him, handling that F50 at the speed. And look how quickly the first turn comes. There'll be less wind in under the fans here, and they're going to all look to manoeuvre away early. Spain in the lead, they control it. New Zealand are blocked. Oh, they're all getting blocked. Italy control the turn. Rockwool Denmark, the British managed to find a way out there. It's so tight after Mark 1 as the teams try and avoid that light wind under the fans.
Completely different day from yesterday. You can see some of the teams just struggling with that first maneuver. We're going to have to see how that plays out as we get to gate 2.
So now an opportunity to catch your breath as they make their way around mark number 1. We've got 8 legs here. This is race number 4. We've got 2 more fleet races, and then only the top 3 teams will race in a winner-take-all event final. But right now, Stevie, Hannah, Spain looks to be the class of the field.
Yeah, they're well out in front. The current is coming it's pulling them up, down, away from the bottom gate here. So I think there could be some extra manoeuvres on this downwind leg, and it'll be interesting to see what the crews choose to do. My guess is there's more wind to the left of our screen. A right turn early from Spain, and then to try and head that way could be good. But we're going to learn a lot. Mubadala Brazil, brilliant first downwind leg. They're up to second. Spain lead at gate 2, and it's going to be now a case of learning the course.
Paralleling boundary here.
In the shadow of Lady Liberty, they make the turn, and they are on to the next leg at gate number 2, the DP World Gate. And it's Brazil that opts for their side, and the black foils get a big dip there and a taste of Hudson water. But it is still Spain, Brazil, France, and Germany, your top 4.
Oh, and New Zealand are off the foils. Lisa, you're down in the water. Which side of the course do you think's paying early on this upwind leg?
Yeah, good outboard.
I really like where Brazil's going. They come out, there's more pressure on this side. It's also flatter water. So they've just happened with Spain there is they weren't going to make the lay, which is why they had to do that extra maneuver.
Great, interesting stuff there. As we look here, we see the wind speed there, and Lisa's point really rains out. The Oracle Cloud showing us 26 kilometers an hour for Spain. Brazil in nearly 5 kilometers an hour more wind. That could be up to, I don't know, 8 or 9 kilometers an hour more boat speed for the Brazilians right now. So there it is, lead change. Brazil with the right of way. That's going to be a massive gain to Brazil, but Spain are now heading towards that favoured side of the course. Will they make a gain late on leg 2?
You can see the difference in colour on the water, just demonstrating how much pressure difference there is. The difference between the most pressure and the least pressure is going to make a huge impact on your boat speeds.
First season for Mubadala Brazil and their driver Martini Grail. She's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 2-time world champion, the 2014 Sailor of the Year. She is at the wheel.
This is the umpires. Penalty Australia. Port tack boat not keeping clear. Go behind Switzerland.
Okay, that'll be interesting how much that hurts Brazil. That sounds like Tom thinks he was maybe questioning Craig Mitchell there. Had to confirm things. But it looks like a big lead for Mubadala Brazil at the moment. They're sailing the boat beautifully. Here they go. They look set up for the top gate here. Paul Goodison there calling for a straight-in right. He's no more manoeuvres for Brazil. Right turn coming up, and they're going to head off to that windier side of the course again. Beautiful upwind leg. Massive lead for the Brazilians at this point in the race.
Well, the fans in the Adrenaline Lounge and on the bleachers are getting a great view right now of the world's best sailors here. This is event number 6 of the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix as they make the turn, and this is one of the busiest waterways in the world, and to be able to close it down to bring these boats in here, Stevie and Hannah, is amazing. But it is Brazil. Will this be the race that they get their first win in SailGP?
Well, they're well ahead at the moment, and they're heading on the favoured side of the course. I think what's interesting with this current, Hannah, is you're having to spend a lot more time on one tack than the other, so it's not an easy course to overtake on.
No, that's right, and you can see the boats that are coming from the bottom of the screen and trying to do that right turn at the top. They don't have right of way, so they've got to pick their way through and make it really, really difficult to make the right decision at that point.
I think what'll be interesting today, Todd, in this race to the final, we saw a lot of inconsistent results yesterday. Gusty, shifty breeze, very tight course. Consistency's not going to be easy today either.
On to leg 4 of 6. It is still Brazil, Spain, and France 1, 2, and 3.
I know we're only halfway through the season, but Canada and Great Britain are in the shot here. They were right up the leaderboard on the overall standings, and USA as well. They're struggling at the back of the pack in this race, but this could be huge for the season points here, you know?
2, 1, and turning.
Even if you're not making the event final, you've got to still get a solid result if you want to make the grand final at the end of the year. Brazil, favoured turn for Spain here. Spain take the left turn. It was a right turn last time that Brazil, sorry, it's a left turn where Spain are going that Brazil gained from last time. Lisa, is that now good news for Spain?
Yeah, I definitely think Spain's going to more pressure, and the reason that is Governor's Island, that's creating a wind shadow on the left-hand side. So, you know, it really comes down to the geography, but it probably wasn't worth that. The other thing is, with the gusty conditions like this, the angles are changing, so the ley lines are so hard to pick.
There we go, it's calling it pretty tricky to judge out on the water. We've got the event live, these are live event standings, so this should be who got to the final at the moment. And look at that, Brazil with this result, currently showing as making the final, but it's really tight. There's a lot of play here.
And there's still 2 more fleet races to go today on Super Sunday, but Brazil looking very good and in position to get their first win in SailGP League history for them. So Spain sits in second. France, Stevie, who always seems to do well in big wins, they've got to be pretty happy about what they're seeing coming across at 26 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, they love this. Okay, so Goodison here, Coolin Martini wants to push towards the ley line. Brazil are going to try and get there in one more manoeuvre. They're just up here, one more manoeuvre, then they look for a left turn. Spain's option will be a last-minute dive inside at this final top mark, but this could be the moment for Mubadala Brazil. Yet to win a race in SailGP. Could this be the first one? Big advantage at the moment, but can Spain make a late dive in at the top mark? 2 more manoeuvres for Spain, no more manoeuvres for Brazil.
Don't worry about it, it's going Ghibli now, please.
No issues, it's just other than a left turn to finish.
And Ghibli 10.
Talked about this yesterday, Todd. We said Russell Cooks called a victory for Brazil. Soothsayer, he's got it happening.
SailGP CEO Russell Coots said his time was coming, and Martini Grail and company, they make the turn, and now they head for home, and they will come right in front of the Adrenaline Lounge as history will be made on the Hudson as Brazil, Mubadala Brazil with Martini Grail at the wheel, look to claim their first victory in SailGP as they come to the line, and the Emirates Woody moment for the first time goes the way of the Brazilians. Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil win race number 4.
And getting down to those. Left wind sheet.
How about that?
Oh, what a race. Spanish bring it home second. Another solid one for them, but France in third, and New Zealand have worked their way back to fourth. This could be huge to try and get to this event final, but Mubadala Brazil, what a tricky race to make your first race win as well. It's tight in the pack, isn't it, Todd? Look, Australia, the Flying Roos, they're out the back. They've lost a lot of places on this upwind. Not sure what went wrong for Brazil, but this, sorry, for Australia, but this could be disastrous in terms of getting to the event final. Oh, Italy needed to give Switzerland space. Oh, that was sporty. Don't be surprised to see Craig Mitchell getting asked a question. I think the Italians might have just been clear. Great Britain have got the right of way here. They should be allowed room in there. There could be more protests.
2-1 pressure.
That's the umpires. Penalty Italy, not giving Mark room, go behind Switzerland.
Oh, so that's going to be a go behind Italy. Will finish behind Switzerland on the overall, though. Invert those results you can see on the left side there. It's really, really tight in at that final turning mark.
So the Bonds Flying Roos come ahead of Germany, Deutsche Bank. They will get the nod there. They will hold on to that position.
They got a penalty as well, Todd. They're going to lose back behind the British, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they had to give room as well. Yep. Same room. As soon as the boat's diving on the inside, it looked pretty reckless from the British, but they were entitled to turn on the inside there.
So what we can tell you for sure is that Brazil gets the win, Spain finishes in second, and France in third. And then at the end of the race, a series of comms coming from Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell, so we will have to sort out the next 4 or 5 positions.
Yeah, I think that could be a feature of today. When it's this gusty and shifty, things will change quite late on, and that final turning marks most people's opportunity to make an overtake if you're going to dive in.
Race number 4, it is Championship Sunday here at the Mubadala SailGP Season 3 Grand Final, San Francisco. Everyone is going to want to lead this race, Stevie, and get to that Mark 1, get away from trouble, and really end Season 3 with some momentum.
Exactly right. We're looking here now at this lineup. The boats are all early back in the box. The start line to the left-hand side of screen shows us red at the moment. That'll be white when the start line's clear to go. We see Emirates GBR, they turn in late. Australia and New Zealand up the line. They have a good position here. We're right overhead. What a view of this start line here. Emirates GBR looking good. Who's going to get their timing right as we come in? Australia foiling. Let's watch what happens. Emirates GBR lined up well here. Canada lined up well as well, and Australia's timing at the top of the line. They're going to have the fastest angle towards Mach 1. How's your timing up at the top of the line there, Tom Slingsby? Watch for the lines turn white. Oh, they're all on the money, but out of the middle of the line, it's Canada, Australia, and at the bottom, a close incident between USA, and there at the bottom, hopefully everyone's okay on that start, but Canada are going to lead the fleet into Mach 1 unless Tom Slingsby can get that roof flying in fast.
As they approach mark number 1, it is an absolute drag race. Who has the inside line? And right now, it looks like the Canadians will lead at Mark 1 here in race number 4.
Brilliant start from Phil Robertson, but Tom Slingsby, well, of the finalists, or the wannabe finalists, he looks pretty good from here. Good news for Emirates GBR in third as the French look to turn away. But Phil Robertson, there is an event inside the event here, Todd. The first after 5 races has got a nice prize money purse to take, and there's going to be a lot of competition for that.
The regatta win here in San Francisco, but the big prize comes up in the final race of the day. That's a $1 million race between only the top 3 point getters on the season.
Canada flying downwind at the moment, 65 kilometers an hour, 40 miles per hour, 32 knots for all the different numbers.
Early to turn though, Emily. There we see the Canadians have turned. They've spun away. They had that great boat speed that you mentioned, but as we look here in the distance to lead, it's GBR. They were first to turn. Coming down the middle of the course, there's a little bit more adverse current on that San Francisco shoreline. It's kind of like a treadmill. It's going from left to right on the screen. They've got off the treadmill. They're in more favourable water on Emirates GBR. And Ben Ainsley, well, he had a great day yesterday and he's come out the blocks, reading the conditions well. When he turns, he'll have the right of way, but I think Canada might be doing enough right now to hold on to that lead.
And they are certainly flying high, Emily. We saw those ride heights. Let's see, go back to the start here with the USA.
Oh, my word, Jimmy Spittle, he didn't have the rights to turn, couldn't have seen Rockwool Denmark coming in, and there's contact there. Hopefully no much too damage to the boat. Sehested, look at this, he turns away last minute, but there on board the boat, Jimmy Spittle. Must be a miscommunication on that US boat for an incident like that to happen, but back with the racing live, we can see it was Canada. They did well on that shoreline, and perhaps in more of an intense battle for the overall season. Ben Ainsley's GBR rolling over the top of Australia. Is that going to be the scene that we see in roughly an hour's time for now, when it will be for $1 million?
Led 2 of 6 as they approach the bottom gate. They'll make the turn back up. It is Canada that has the lead. Emirates GBR sits in second, and look at the Australians. They bear away, so it'll be interesting to see how those tactics play out for Tom Slingsby.
Tight on the inside there. Switzerland have the inside of Spain. Good job by Diego Botan. Gives Seb Schneider room. The Swiss round inside. They're in 5th, but we're going to learn a lot about the course here. Canada turn in towards the shoreline. GBR in 2nd. But who's got the right here? Who's got the most wind? Slingsby offshore or Phil Robertson closer to the shore? We'll learn a lot about the race course in the next 2 minutes.
Denmark and the USA bringing up the rear after that incident will make sure that they're okay. No damage done to the boats, but it's Canada, GBR, Australia now moving to 2nd place ahead of the Brits, and France now moving up to 4th.
All right, 10 should be ahead. Very close. Ben, mid-jib now.
There we go. So the right of way with Australia. It's going to be tight with Emirates GBR again here. If it's tight, Emirates GBR must avoid contact. Turns the boat away behind the Australians. And now it's a real test of boat speed up this leg here. The Canadians are doing a great job of hanging in, but it's Australia heading back towards the San Francisco shoreline. There should be more favourable current, but is there more favourable wind that way for the Australians? They're in that low drag mode there, Todd. We see them all kneeling down, and of course yesterday I said I didn't think Slingsby was allowed to do that. I checked my rule book. Tom Slingsby confirmed for me overnight, and they are allowed that low drag position.
Canada's sailing really well at the moment. They're the fastest boat out on the course, 61 kilometers an hour average speed. Really important to note as well, we don't have the numbers here, but they are getting an even wind speed across the course, so a lot more stable than it was yesterday.
And they love the consistency. So Australia now in first place. France has moved up to second, with Canada in third and Great Britain in fourth. Stevie, this is the performance that France needed yesterday.
Well, yeah, hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it, Todd? And, you know, maybe too little, too late for content. He's not had the direct attention of Ben Ainsley's Emirates GBR to do it. But I think what's interesting is, for those that are watching SailGP for the first time, these boats, despite being different colours, they're all identical. So Emily just said the wind was a lot more steady today than yesterday. That means with these identical boats, it's all about the sailors on board the boat and how well they can use the equipment. And right now, Slingsby, he's made some distance back on the Canadians, but it's Canada with the right of way. Close dip there behind, and it's Canada hanging on by the skin of his teeth on board the Crazy Canucks there. But he's going to be now lacking the right of way when he comes back with Australia. But has he found more wind? Can the Canadians stretch from here?
Canada not in the running to make the grand final later today. That's the last race of the day, where only the top 3 teams will battle it out for the $1 million and the overall season title. But you've got Canada, Australia, France, GBR, Denmark, your top 5.
Ladder line there showing us that the Canadians have got roughly a 100-metre lead at the moment, but the thing is changing all the time. It's a very dynamic situation. We can see France up to second, but I think the Australians will be looking quite good when they turn, and there should just be one more turn for the Australians before this upwind gate, and we've seen it can be quite crucial. Who leads at gate 3 often extends away to take a good lead in the race. Here we go. Sorry, Todd, but I was just going to say, when Australia attack, they're turning the boat through the wind here. They're going to be parallel to that yellow line. That should mean they make gate 3 with no more manoeuvres. They have the right of way. Canada must gate clear, but can either of them make it in one more go?
Calm voices as we get ready for some chaos here at the top of the course. This will be gate number 3 as they make their way around. This is a 6-leg race. This is race number 4, race number 5 coming up, and then the grand final where only the top 3 teams will battle it out here in the Pacific.
Canada and Australia will make it through with no more turns, but will the Australians choose to take another turn and move away from the Canadians? Yes, they do. Who's going to see more wind here? They both round at an identical time, and it's all about who's found the most wind for this downwind leg. If you find more wind, you're going to go faster. GBR up to 3rd. It's tight in the pack, but at the moment, the Australians and the Canadians are doing a masterful job.
Well, yesterday it was the Australians and the Brits that dominated. Australia winning races 1 and 3. Emirates GBR winning race 2, and also a 2nd place in race number 3 as they surpass France on the overall standing. So right now, the way it is going to be Australia, New Zealand, and Emirates GBR in that grand final unless something major happens.
Canada on that shoreline, we just saw them there. The Australians, they've turned the boat downwind. They're in a nice position, keeping it tight with Great Britain here. Slingsby won't want the confidence going over to the British crew. Slingsby talks about being a confident sailor, so I expect to see him through the day continue to push. He won't want to go into this final undercooked, and right now 50 metres behind the Canadians, but still 100 metres ahead of that Great British boat.
Wind speed hovering right around 25 kilometers an hour. For a report on the conditions down on the water, we send it down to Lisa Darmanin.
The differences between the gusts and lulls aren't as big as we've seen in previous days, so it is about the little gains out here. Those extra meters are really counting when the boats come together. So I don't think you need to be a hero out here. You just need to take the little wins, and that's why we're seeing the leaders are not extending as much as other days. So yeah, really tight racing out here, and it's just looking fabulous.
And Stevie, I know they're all very competitive, but is a Tom Slingsby, Ben Ainsley, are they thinking about Peter Burley? Are they thinking about the championship? It's kind of going into championship mode and not pushing it too much?
I don't think either of them are not pushing it, but I'm certainly noting that Tom Slingsby's not wanting to give Ben Ainsley on board Emirates GBR an inch of space. He wants to make sure he's right in front of him the whole time. Trying to get Ben Ainsley used to seeing the back of his boat, because if that's what happens as the day goes on, then obviously Tom will be very, very happy.
They are the 2-time defending and reigning champions. Australia currently right now sitting 3rd in race number 4, but they have already punched their ticket into today's final race, the grand finale.
There we go. We heard Phil Robertson a moment ago on the onboard comm say he liked this turn away from the shore. He felt the Australians gained on the first upwind leg. He's learnt his lesson, and this Canadian boat turns away. The Canadian crew doing a fantastic job on board that boat. They looked a little ragged yesterday, but they're sailing the boat well today. They're fast, and right now they've got the Australians behind them, and Phil Robertson's going to be keen to keep them there. One more upwind leg, and then a short reach leg to the finish. Not a lot of this race left here, Todd.
Top of the course, and then it'll be a hard left, and they'll be right on shore, so the fans there will get a great view of the winner of race number 4, and race number 5 will come shortly thereafter. As Australia turns away, Canada looks over, go to the top of them. Stevie, is this a situation where Phil Robertson's going to try to send some dirty air if he can get a better angle on Australia?
Here we go. It looks like it's gone pretty well for the Australians again here, Emily. They look like a small gain on the Aussies. Oh, I'm sorry, on the British.
Yeah, coming out on that right-hand side didn't leave a lot of room for the Brits there after a really good downwind performance. We saw the Brits downwind gain back the distance. They were the fastest, 63 kilometers an hour. But after the rounding, ended up going inshore and into a lighter patch. We saw them drop off the foils briefly before coming back out offshore.
We're always learning about the course here, but right now we can see Australia. They're going pretty fast. They're showing us 50 metres ahead of the Canadians. When they turn on board Australia, they need to be sure they can cross clear ahead of Canada, because it's Canada that have the right of way. This is a tight moment. We go on board here with the British boat as they manoeuvre the boat here. They're in a lot of space. It'll be very interesting when we see the boats coming back together. Nice manoeuvre there. Australia have turned. No, he has to turn the boat away aggressively from the Canadians. He just can't quite get past. Now he's going to have to watch out for the French. That could be costly for Slingsby. They've got really slow. Look at the boat speed at the top of the mast. 43 kilometres an hour versus 45. Canada turn on the boundary. France have the right of way again. I think the French are ahead of the Canadians here. It's a tight race on this final upwind leg as Ainsley moves past Slingsby.
Quentin Delapierre of France, they were mired back in 5th place. Now they have moved into 1st place with this final leg and then the left-hander to the finish line. And this is the performance that the French needed yesterday as they dropped so many points. Remember, they had a terrible first day, finishing in 6th place. The next race they finished in 8th, and then the final race of the day finished in 6th.
On board the Australian boat there, we see they had to turn away. Tash Bryant grabbing the wheel there, had to do an aggressive turn as Tom Slingsby was on the other side of the boat. We see Tom there, runs across, they change back over, and well, right now it's the British have found a good wind shift. The wind has rotated to the right. That means the Brits have sailed less distance on this upwind leg, and at the moment they've gained, but plenty of gulf left in this. 500 metres to go. France and Australia. Australia have the right of way. What does Delapierre do? He looks like he's going to try and push across to me. What a tight moment there. Oh, that was so close.
I think what's important to remember with these crosses is France, they've got nothing to lose.
Right.
They might as well push for every cross they can. Australia cannot afford any damage, so they're probably going to be safer on all of these crosses.
Oh, another close one.
I'm not sure Ben Ainsley can afford any tight crosses either. Everyone, I think we've just answered your question, Todd. These teams are pushing the very limits here. Now, look, Mark 5 looms large. It's going to be a tight rounding. France coming in. They have the right of way at the moment. How do the British boat look on them?
Penalty GBR, relative Australia. Port tack boat not keeping clear.
Oh, that was that cross just a moment ago. That's going to be costly for Ainsley. Now, he's got to drop behind the Australian boat to clear his penalty. It's really complicated here. France will lead at Mark 5. They're in good shape. Canada are going to be a late player in this, along with Denmark. That yellow circle, if Canada can get inside that before Great Britain, they're allowed to turn inside. Great Britain have to wait for the Australians. What a costly penalty for Ainsley. Too aggressive late in the race. Canada are going to get through to 2nd, and we could get the Australians passing Britain as well. What a disaster for Emirates GBR.
So France comes out swinging on day number 2, Championship Sunday. But is it too little too late for Quentin Delapierre and French? But the French come across the finish line, and it's C'est Magnifique once again. Quentin Delapierre gets the win in race 4.
Brilliant result for them, but back in the pack, the Canadians look like they were off the foil. They were. Denmark dived through. Slingsby's gone round the outside. Disaster for Canada. They just got really slow on that final mark. Who's going to get it on the line here, Todd?
And it looks like Australia just gets ahead of Denmark. So it's France, Australia, Denmark, your top 3.
Oh, did you hear the Aussies there? How much that meant to Slingsby. That's 2 points advantage over the British in terms of this race for the event win here in San Francisco. Let's forget about the championship. We've got a tight battle for the Grand Prix event here in San Francisco. One more race left in that. That will decide the winner here in San Francisco before we go on to the championship final 3-boat race, which I think we might find out now has almost been set in stone as to who can make that final.
Difficult day for the Americans to start things off as they had that incident at the start line. We'll have to find out if there was any damage done to their boat or that of the Danes. The Americans finish in 7th place with Spain coming across in 8th, and the Swiss will finish in 9th. All right, the race at hand as we come up on 45 seconds to go until the event final here at the Oracle San Francisco Sail Grand Prix. Spain, Canada, and France. Hannah Diamond, pick your poison. Who do you like?
Oh, that's a tough call here. I think the Spanish are lined up nicely, and I wouldn't bet against them.
Well, here we go. You can see that you're all going to be trying to get the downwind inside end of the line, and the attackers in this situation are going to be Canada. They're the furthest back. Spain have kind of made their bed, and they're looking to put it out.
Here we go, 15 seconds before the start of the event final.
All about being clear at this start is what Diego Bortin said. As we can see now, out of the fog, it's going to be North Star Canada threading the needle between the fleet here, looking for that line to turn right, and it's all about the timing. Oh, the French have nailed it, Todd. They're on the inside, they're fast, they're foiling hard, they've got the right of way, and I do not see anyone leading this French team ahead at Mark 1.
Like a scene out of Master and Commander as they emerge from the fog and they approach mark number 1. It will be the French who get in just barely into the event final, and they will pick up the whole shot here in San Francisco.
Oh, they nailed that start when they needed to. They came through on the attack. Spain are going to have a lovely dive down at Mark 1 and expect them to manoeuvre away first here. There they go in the background. That had to be the call in 3rd place. Canada move away behind, not the best manoeuvre, and France cover. Now it's going to be a sprint as they all try and line up gate 2. That's the first opportunity for a split, Hannah, but I love where the French are right now. Darker patch there, looks like they found breeze.
Yeah, and the breeze has definitely picked up since the last race, so they've got to be aware that the manoeuvres are going to be slightly different, but Spain had to split at that point. They had to make that first manoeuvre, but I think France are lined up really nicely for the bottom gate.
Don't need to speak a lot of French to understand that super means they're pretty happy on board that French boat right now, and they've really got a big lead, 100 metres there. We see in that Oracle cloud is telling us that they are just constantly faster on board the French boat at the moment. They're just in good breeze, they're moving ahead. And now at gate 2, big decision. I suspect the French will take the right turn. They'll keep it simple, one more manoeuvre right turn. The interesting one, Spain. Spain manoeuvre early. I suspect they'll look for a left turn, try and split the course, but is there opportunities on the race course for an overtake, or have the French already done it?
There's the maneuver as the French come in now at the bottom of the course. This is gate number 2, the DP World Gate. It is France by 100 meters. Don't count out the Canadians, Stevie. We've seen this before. We saw it in Los Angeles. It looks like they were not going to be in the top spot, and they came back and got the pass.
Yeah, it's not. This race is way far from over. We're only on just coming onto leg 3 of 6. We're not even anywhere near halfway, really. And it is Spain who do split away. No surprise there. Constant attack for Botin. And Lisa, what's the breeze looking like down there on the water? Is it looking better offshore still?
Yeah, I mean, the fog has come all the way into the bay now, so it's changed the game a little bit. I think the Spanish, they're in really good breeze, but where the French are, where originally it was quite light, there is breeze there now, so it's kind of, it's changed again, and I think the French are probably still in a strong position.
So you see the visibility down closer to the water, and this could be a situation with that fog where they might not know where the other team is. But they right now have good visibility as they go through that chopped up water. Spain has the advantage, or right away, I should say.
Yeah, and they've made the jump there over Canada. That obviously was a good call to take that left turn, and now they're sailing into slightly less tide as they get closer to that shoreline.
Right of way Spain here, Hannah, and it looks like they're going to get it. Oh, we called it. Left turn at the bottom was huge. This race is all wide open, but the Spanish boat right now looks so fast.
Yeah, they look really nice and settled now. The breeze is up, don't they? So they're going to be hard to beat from here, but I know that the French will keep pushing.
The thing to remember as well here, Todd, is that the Spanish made a gain by coming away from San Francisco. That's where France are going, where the North Star Canada team are. So potentially Spain are sailing into less wind. Lisa did think it was a bit better on that side, but this race is going to keep going all the way to the wire.
With the San Francisco skyline as a backdrop, the French spin the boat around, currently in 2nd place.
Big grinders across the front there. Matty Van Dam, he's straight across in there. Going to start pushing hard on those handles. And they've got the right of way when they meet back up with the Spanish.
Shooting, Flo. Shooting. Yes, no problem. All good. We're clear.
Just a little bit unsure how they were looking on Canada, and Florian there, calm voice when it was needed. We're clear. I think they're just across, but are they across the French? This race is all on, Todd.
Here we go as they approach gate number 3.
Oh, Nicole sounded confident there. All good, they touched down. I mean, that's a marginal call, but she was confident. That's what you want to hear as a driver out there. Confident calls from your strategist. And to me right now, Spain looking face. Look at that, Nicole van Velden, still with that bad leg. She's struggling across the boat, but you can't say she's not a fighter. That is for sure. As in the background, Canada and France are having to take avoiding action, and that's going to mean a big gain for the Spanish team up at the top here. But another big decision. Do you turn left and head to the shore, or do you take this right turn and hope to find more breeze? Another crucial decision for the chasing boats here.
And here we go. It is Spain that'll make the decision first. And they will opt for the left-hand side, so they will go closer to shore. Who will split the course and who will follow?
I think the Canadians will split. They've got to. They're going to save manoeuvres. France are going to follow, but France are going to lose distance doing that. So really, I think for Spain, that was a huge moment. France always had to split. If they followed Canada, they would have just been sailing in disturbed wind, which they're just going to be sailing slower. At least now they got a chance to be fast, but doing that manoeuvre, they've lost meters in that.
So here it is, the situation at hand. It is Spain out in front. They will go down to the bottom of the course. They will turn, come back up, and then it'll be a left turn to the finish line. Can they hold off the Canadian? Giles Scott, he is a master-class sail, and we'll see what they can pull off. The two-time Olympic gold medalist in the fin class.
Well, they were elbows up in LA, weren't they? And they were hoping for a bit of a double-double here in San Fran, but right now they're going to rely on a mistake for the Spanish because they're sailing really nicely on board that Spanish boat. Get last at gate 3, they were third at gate 3, Hannah, and look at this, nearly 200 meters ahead. I mean, they're going fast.
Yeah, they've got a really great lead. They definitely wanted that left turn at the top. I think they're coming down in really nice pressure at the moment, and if they just keep calm, they should be able to pick their gate mark at the bottom and keep it nice and simple.
All right, Hannah, look at your crystal ball. Which way does Diego Botín and the Spanish go when they get to the bottom of the course? What do you think?
Well, I think they'll probably want to turn right. It looks like they're setting up just for the ley line there, so that means they don't have to have any more maneuvers, but Canada are catching up.
Look at the speed difference. Canada checking in around 76 kilometers an hour. The Spanish now just picking up their speed. They hold at 72.
Yeah, interesting call here. I was going to say, Spain gained by coming away from San Francisco. So he's basically decided, let's do what we did work for us last time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep it simple. They're going to head away from the shore. The tricky decisions with the boats behind. Does Canada follow and try and secure this second place, or do they risk it all? It looks like they're going to try and secure it, so it's France that are going to roll the dice.
And they do. Quentin Delapierre and the French, they turn away. They will opt for the other side, looking for clean air. And now it is Giles Scott hoping that Diego Botín and the Spanish, the defending champions from season 4, make a mistake here as they head upwind.
Rolex chasing time, 7 seconds for the Canadians to catch up. And the trouble is, because Spain have pushed all the way to the boundary here, Canada are going to end up basically following them. And it's just control, control, control. I think Canada needed to manoeuvre a bit earlier after that gate if they were going to make more of a race of it. For me, Canada are almost saying, okay, you keep making the right decision, Spain. We're just going to follow you and let you have it. Or, fingers crossed for a mistake, which we're just not seeing from that Spanish boat at the moment.
Spain just moments away from being the 5th team in season 5 to get a win out of 5 events. Stevie, who'd have thought that across the board? 5 different winners in 5 different events.
Well, they seem to like it here in San Francisco, don't they, the Spanish? I mean, they've led a final here, and there you go, Nicole there, good gains here. I mean, you can't wish to hear anything better than that.
On the way.
No, they just seem so calm and confident. They're in a controlling position here. The Canadians are going to have to either keep putting the pressure on, hoping for a mistake, but there's not a lot of options left to split from here.
No, Canada will manoeuvre next, probably, and then Spain will just go straight with them. And if they go all the way till they can get to the turning point, then the Spanish have got it in the bag anyway. There go Canada. Expect Spain to follow. Oh, Florian, we do our thing. Well, there you go. I'm surprised he's opened the door a little bit, but they weren't maybe ready for the manoeuvre there.
4, 3, 2, 1. Turning. Pressing out. Good. Nice. Pressing.
Surprised that Diego Botín does all this in English.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's really impressive. It's great for the commentary, isn't it? It does save us having to do as much talking.
Leg 5 of 6. There is Canada. There is Spain on the right-hand side. Both of them will make a left-hand turn at this final mark as France comes into view. But it looks like the Spanish, Stevie, if they perform properly on this last maneuver, they've got this one in the bag.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. They've just sailed smooth, haven't they? And you can just tell that Diego and Nicole at the back have got a really special connection. They're really understanding each other, the calmness that comes in. Teams works clean. They've executed that well, just about a turn now, and then they can enjoy once again an event-winning run to the finish here in San Fran.
3, 2, 1, I'm down, yep.
They make the left-hand turn at the final mark, and there you see the finish line just ahead. As they come across the line, no big shocker here. They won 2 races in the fleet race, and now the Emirates winning moment. The celebration can begin. Spain rules San Francisco again.
I've watched Rafael Nadal win enough tennis events to know that Vamos is a good thing. And I might not speak a lot of Spanish, but what an Emirates winning moment that is there. It means a lot, doesn't it? Their season now is fully up and running. That's huge. North Star Canada, another good result for them. They're really the form team at the moment.
First event win since season 4 win in San Francisco for the Spanish as they claim this one at the Oracle San Francisco Sail Grand Prix. Diego Botín, Florian Trittel, the entire squad getting it done. Nicole Vandervelde and Stevie, you talked about it, the injured leg, but she did work on that boat today to get them in. France will come through and they will finish in 3rd, but they will pick up some valuable season points. Once again, tip your cap to the Spanish as they dominate on the Pacific.
So surely the race, the final fleet race is upon us here in New York. And the big news is...
There's big news. We know who's in the final. It is Japan and Australia, but a massive battle for that 3rd place between China, USA and France. It is all on to secure that final place on the podium. We're going to expect a big battle here.
And once again, it's interesting where these guys have had to set up from. There's not enough room behind the start line, so they've all come in from the race course side. And it looks like Great Britain are trying to get into the bottom end of the line. Australia attacking. Maybe they'll try and hold up Japan here. Japan are sort of sliding down. Great Britain have parked in, which is going to stop Japan being able to pull their bows away. Rome Kirby's already loaded up here, Shirley.
It's not about positioning, it's about pace. Keep an eye on those boat speeds.
Big trim, boys. They've done all right there to get over the bow of Great Britain there in Japan, and we are off for the final race. 3 boats have parked it, 3 boats are on their way, and it is USA leading by Japan, and France are also in the mix this time. Great Britain off the line pretty much last with China and Australia. Are they just conserving energy? Do they know that they're already into the final? Of course they do.
I think, Jody, they just got all mixed up with other boats. Big mistake.
And it's a nice race here into the first mark with Japan just getting inside of Rome Kirby in the USA. So Japan around first, Rome Kirby into second. France, great job by France to be up there in 3rd. And Australia are chasing hot in 4th. Have a go at how quick they're going to get once again down to that bottom mark. Both boats doing a nice job there. Australia probably need to get a good job. Looks like they're in a great path. They might be able to get on the inside of France, who looks like they've got a little bit of a problem trying to manoeuvre through that jibe. So I'd say they've lost their 3rd spot there, France. But it's Japan into the bottom mark first. USA in 2nd, and the Aussies are chasing. Because Tommy Slingsby knows that it's all still. You still need to gain points. Every point matters.
I think they saw, you can see that puff of wind coming down. I think that's why they've all gone round that left-hand side, using the puffs to get up to the top mark.
And that's a great illustration there. Keeping your boat speed in, Australia just went straight in underneath this USA boat, which are on board now.
What's going on? Okay, setting up, trimming up. Yours, trimming up. Go hard.
It's interesting. They're just saying they might have some sort of an issue. They can't quite identify what. Rome's just tacking off. France need to be careful here. They need to tack as well. Here we go, port and starboard. Very, very close here between USA and France. France, there's a late, very, very late tack on France. Gonna have to get a penalty there, surely. Rome and the USA team were still inside that boundary, or that protected boundary. You can hear Billy Besson there, very, very animated there, Shirley. That was very close indeed.
I mean, the American boat didn't give him a massive amount of opportunity to take, you know, to avoid him, and he's not happy. We're just waiting to hear from the umpires.
Yeah, it looks like at this stage that we haven't seen a penalty, so they must be thinking it's all clear. So you've done a great job there, Billy Besson and the team from France, to throw that thing on the inside of the USA boat. So they're now racing in for second spot. Looks like they've got a nice little pressure off that right New York side of the course. And just as we say that, off the foils they come. So we're even getting confused with what's going on out here in this course. So it's about who can get up to this mark in a low boat mode. But the team that's still leading is the Japanese, and they'll go across to that right-hand gate.
You can see the yellow circles on the water. Whoever hits that yellow circle, the zone first, has all the rights to make the turn.
Have a go at Australia. They just took both those boat sterns because they were on port. Tommy threw it up into the wind, in and around, and chasing Japan for second. So he's come from fourth to second in a heartbeat. Look at this race. This is the race for third.
Oh,
USA
the Americans just squeezed round.
France are going over to the right-hand side where Australia have parked. There's no breeze there at this stage. USA, will this be the big move? Can they come across this right-hand side? Local boys, surely they know what's going on out here, Shirley.
They are flying. Jody, imagine you're American and you're sailing here, right in front of Manhattan, potentially about to win a medal.
They've got a Lady Liberty on their wing. They are sailing for that home team, and here they go into the jibe. Japan look nice out in that middle part of the course, but they have done well. They've got themselves into second by just going to that left-hand gate at the top.
But Jody, look at the French. Look at the top of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. The French are coming back in that massive puff of wind, the big shadow that we see.
Billy Besson is fired up. He threw it underneath Rome there in the USA boat on that little port starboard incident, and he is coming downhill at a great rate.
Yep, keep it on the breeze. It's going to be headed.
They want to get this, they want third. There's no doubt about that. They want it hard.
Oh, but Jody, he's running out of pressure. You can see the speed dropping.
Okay, fly off.
He's got to do a really late jibe here. He's going to go past the actual, what we call the ley line, and it's going to be another boat-on-boat here incident between, I can't believe it, USA and France. They are just chasing each other everywhere they go. USA are going uphill. France have gone completely past the marks.
I'm not sure what happened on that French boat. They needed to jibe, and they didn't. They must have had a problem on board.
Oh, either that or it just comes up to them so quick, that bottom mark, because this course is so short. So a little tiny little lapse in concentration, and you fly past the mark. Look who's last or second last in this race. The Aussies. They were second around the top mark and parked it.
The star of the show here is the American boat. Currently in first, right off Manhattan. It's a good moment.
He did say that he was pretty fired up to go out there and show them that he means business today after losing his wing trimmer yesterday, and the whole program got thrown up in the air. Rome Kirby is definitely delivering here as we speak on the Hudson River.
It means a lot to finish third. You know, the Australian team and the Japanese, very experienced sailing these boats. The other teams are playing catch-up, and boy, they are catching up quickly.
They certainly are. But we've still got another upwind and half an upwind and another leg to go. So, as we've seen, there's been about 6 million different lead changes already. I'm guessing there's going to be some more.
I got the bear weight, my rig. Your rudders. Yeah.
But USA have got a great lead there, Shirley.
The stand-in wing trimmer here arrived at Newark Airport at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Changing his wetsuit on the plane.
Long way, getting close here, probably.
We'll just listen to what they're saying here with his job. This will be nice comms.
Gotta go, Romy. Yep.
and they've let us down. There's nothing for them to say. They're just gone. Thank you very much, Rome, for that. That's awesome.
Yep. Okay, go board. Teach. Yours.
Stand by popping 2.
Yep.
Popping now.
Nice. My rake.
Yeah,
Good job there. They just touched down in that jibe, so there's just enough breeze for them to go not quite a full foil, but they're still back up and falling, which is just as I say that, we've dropped off, so big light patch in the middle.
Dude, it's so hard. The coordination between the flight controller, the wing trimmer, and the helmsman. It's like driving a car and looking at the sat-nav, and someone else doing the gears and the accelerator and the brake. It is so difficult to coordinate.
I got it.
Got nice pressure there. You can see them bow down in towards that bottom mark, so they're still leading.
There's good pressure over our left shoulder, so
This is last bottom mark, as you just heard there from USA.
And good pressure over their shoulder. They're happy where they are.
New territory for Rome Kirby and the team from USA. Nathan Outridge in Japan are not going to let him have it all his own way, because they are coming down here in an absolute beauty of a gust, and they've gone from a long way behind to 1.5 to 2 bay lengths to right behind him, straight over the top of Japan, USA. That is very close once again. Oh my God.
The Japanese have to keep clear. They're coming in from behind, no rights. They had to keep clear.
They were so close. The whole hull was right over the top of USA. And look who's back in the mix. USA, Australia, Japan. This race is not over, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Do not go anywhere. This could be anything.
yours.
Popping 2, 1, popping out.
Yep, mine.
Still done a nice job tacking. Done a nice job tacking off that shore. Here's the replay. You see Japan coming right from behind him. Heaps and heaps of speed. Get a lot of height out of that thing. Drops down in the water, straight up underneath the rudders again of the USA. Very similar to what happened in San Francisco with the Aussie side.
My rig.
That was pretty insane.
Got no wind compared to them.
Tommy's complaining about no wind. USA in plenty of wind. 35 knots as opposed to 25 knots at boat speed of Japan. So here's the race. It looks like it's going to be between USA and Japan.
Line. Power me up. Fully powered up, bro. Yep. Good lead legit. Nice. Good pressure at the mark.
We got a good. Oh, no.
We're good. We're good.
We're hearing the comms between the wing trimmer and the helmsman. Really calm on board. Nice job.
So they have to nail this tack. They've done a really good job separating there with Japan. It was all about a race. Now, USA have to do a good tack and hopefully get breeze. Can Australia get breeze from down below? They're up and got one hull out of the water, just dropped it back down as we spoke. They're going to come in towards China here, so they're almost an obstruction in the middle of the course. Japan have to go around China. Australia have to go around China. In the meantime, USA are around the top mark and heading in towards the finish for what will be a historic first win for Team USA on their home water, Shirley.
Your rate, team.
My rate.
It's not over yet, Jody, but they will get the biggest cheer in Manhattan when they cross that line. What a weekend they've had. You know, they lost their vital crew member yesterday, and today to pull this win out the bag would be quite something. To take third here in New York City, that's a day for memories.
There will not be a prouder American than Rome Kirby if he can pull this off. He will be loving it. He's looking back. He's very, very nervous. He's like a young boy at his first dance. He doesn't know what to do. He just wants that boat up and falling and heading in towards the finish here to New York, and that's exactly what's going on. He's just getting it up now.
Yeah. Got it. I got it. Good trip. Hold back.
And you can hear them. They just want to get it up and get it going. Japan have done a nice job by separating.
Take trim, boys. Take one. Press it here. Finish it strong, boys.
Finish it strong. You hear it there from Tommy Johnson. A lot of pressure on the flight controller. Don't get it wrong now. We've got 100 metres to go, and USA are about to get their first win. Ladies and gentlemen, get up and clap, because there it is.
First race win. There we go. In the bag. Nice job, boys.
He heard you, Jody. That is a big moment for this young man and his team. Good job.
Wasn't ideal.
Well done to them.
Awesome work, boys. Nice one.
Coming in to second spot is Japan, but they've sealed the deal for the final. They know that they're in that final match race with that nemesis once again. Tommy Slingsby in Australia. 3 events, 3 of the similar match race components. Who's going to take this one, Shirley?
That's a tough one. You know, Tommy Slingsby goes into a different mode. He sees the red mist. He's a great combat kind of sailor, and I think they'll be rebooting in between these races and come out firing.
Here's a nice story with Great Britain coming over the finish line for 4th after a disaster yesterday. That's a nice little finish for them, the team from Great Britain. Well done.
Stand by.
65 seconds away from race number 2 at the Oracle San Francisco Sail Grand Prix, day number 1. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, and Lisa Darmanin with you here, the city by the bay. The USA needs a big rebound in this one as they finished in last place. And remember, last place gets you no points, 10 points to the winner, and it's all about accumulating enough points where tomorrow only the top 3 teams will race in the event final. So here we go, Stevie, 40 seconds before the start of race 2.
Yes, USA have got themselves early back again here. They're leading the fleet back. They're going to struggle to kill the time here. Right-hand side of the screen, Canada are struggling. New Zealand are putting a more powerful display in towards the bottom of our screen, but the whole fleet is pretty early here. We can see they're all going to have to go quite slow on this time in. I like the position of Canada, and they get the Rolex pole predictor on the top. Old Giles Scott's going to be able to wind it up on board North Star Canada from here, but again, De La Pierre, he comes charging through on that French boat. It's going to be tighter at the bottom of the line this time. It's 9 seconds to go. Brazil in the middle of the line. New Zealand, the fastest boat. France. New Zealand must keep clear. The French are a little bit early. Watch for the line to turn white.
This is the umpires. France early start penalty.
Oh, they've got to drop back behind the whole fleet, Todd. They've got to get behind the whole fleet. They slowed the Kiwis up as well, and it's opened the door for the Deutsche Bank Germany team. They're going to lead at Mark 1, and they could be followed by Mubadala Brazil. It's going to be a pile up here.
Eric Heil in his 2nd season for Germany Deutsche Bank as they come up on mark number 1, the whole shot. Off to their right-hand side, Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil, and it will be Germany and Brazil going 1 and 2 here in race 2.
Italy and USA 3rd and 4th as well. A complete flip of the results in race 1 at Mark 1. But we've seen it's a long, long race course. It's all about accuracy. Rolex sprint leader goes to the Germans, but they need to execute this manoeuvre. Australia manoeuvre way early, Todd, and look, they ran out of wind under the whole fleet. The disturbed air of the wind, a slow manoeuvre for the Aussies, but they are now in space as Germany executed. Beautiful manoeuvre on the bottom, and I don't see anything having changed here, Hannah. It's got to be all about the right turn at gate 2.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. We know there was a little bit of a right-hand wind shift in the last race, so they've got to keep an eye on for the direction of the wind, but it doesn't look like a lot's changed.
I love the parity in SailGP. First 4 events, 4 different winners, and the winner of the last race here, France, is in dead last. 2nd place, Australia, they're in 10th. So completely flipped the script here with the Germans out in front, Brazil in 2nd place, and those teams finished 9th and 10th in our first race just moments ago.
Crucial decision at this gate 2 here. I think for Germany it should be easy, but they've missed their manoeuvre. Poor manoeuvre by the Germans. They might just save it. They've turned late and they've got back on the force. Great save by the German team there. They're going to be easily set up for the right turn. I think it's an interesting decision here for Canada, for Spain. Which way are Spain going to go? Very awkward position for the Spanish. They're going to have to do 2 manoeuvres if they want to turn right, or dip all the way behind the British. Right of way, Great Britain.
Good start also for Taylor Canfield, US SailGP team. They opt for the right-hand side as well. They tuck into 4th place. Red Bull Italy now in 3rd, Emirates GBR in 5th, and Spain in 6th. And here comes Canada, winners of last event, in 7th with Giles Scott.
It seemed pretty tight at gate 2. Lisa, what are you seeing? Are we more open course?
Yeah, it's definitely a more open course. It's getting more challenging out here. You heard Hannah talk about the shifts, so the wind is moving left to right. It is a lot more left, so there's a big mountain that the wind has to come over. So as that wind comes over the mountain, it's changing the direction. So definitely more to play for. And you know, if you're in that 4th, 5th position, it's better not to follow it. It is to do that split so you can get the clear air, which is exactly what Spain did.
I think what's happening here, because the wind's shifting, what that does is it gives the opportunity for teams to sail a bit less distance. You see the German team and the Brazilian team, if you put their angle relative to those ladder lines, they were just progressing up the course a little bit more. Nice shift in direction, and now for these new teams, it's quite rare that they've got the clear wind this early on in the race to actually sail the boat fast and smooth. Voice of Paul Goodison here, strategist on board Brazil. He's trying to now eye up the optimum course. Here they go. Goodison crosses the boat, Macmillan crosses the boat, Marcini Grail, left-hand side of screen, she spins the wheel. Germany have got to keep clear. Oh, that's so tight by the Germans. Whoa, that was pretty well judged by both teams there, I think. Had my heart in my mouth anyway. And right now, the Germans have put the absolute lockdown on Brazil, putting disturbed wind onto that boat. Germany will be slowing the Brazilians. Opportunity for the United States team.
Taylor Canfield and US SailGP team come all the way to the border, and then they make their maneuver. They stay on the foils, they stay in third, but here comes Canada, Giles Scott. North Star Canada rocking the Rockwell colors this weekend.
Here we go, we're going to go back on board the German boat here. They've got to react to the Brazilians. Brazil have got the right of way, so Germany have to be confident of being ahead here. You can see their strategist, she's in the bottom cockpit there watching the timing of the board drop. Well judged by the Germans. We're done get a lot tighter than that, but that was pretty perfect for me. Really quite perfect. And I think, talk about here come the Canadian team, so we're going to come back to life. Look, bottom of our screen, right of way green circle around the New Zealand boat. The black foils were last, or not last, but they were right at the back of the fleet again, 10th at Mark 1, already up to 6th. Where does he find that space so early on in the race, Hannah?
I think they're just so good at sailing the boat under pressure, and when they're in a slightly difficult position, you can see they stay really relaxed. I think it'd be a real shame here for the Brazilians and the Germans if they sail each other back into the fleet. They need to separate, just give themselves the space to sail the boat nicely.
So as they come up to gate number 3, it is still Germany out in front. They got the whole shot at mark number 1. They led going down to that first leg, and now they'll have the choice. It looks like they're going to go away from the shore, opting for the right-hand side, and now we'll see who follows and who splits. And it looks like Canada may have the overtake on the U.S.
Yeah, Canada got the right of way here, Todd. So the U.S. team look like they're going to try and turn inside, maybe. No, change of mind on board U.S. They just sneak ahead of Brazil. Well judged. Really tight here. Italy have got the right of way. Oh, that was a tight moment. Well judged, maybe. It's really tight in the pack. Canada towards the favoured side. Emirates Great Britain dive on the inside. Dylan Fletcher saw a chance and he took it.
Hey, nice angle there for the bills.
Brazil are back in the pack, unfortunately, again here. Just get a little bit out of phase, like Hannah said. You get slowed up by other boats around you. Great breeze on board Canada there. Their darker patch of water, they're going to be going real fast.
France still has not found a way like Pete Burling to work their way through the field. They still sit mired back in 11th place. The Australians have moved up to 8th.
Oh, it looks like the Germans have got a boundary penalty. They've sailed too wide on the pitch. That's 20 metres they're going to have to lose. And look, that's just opened the door for the Canadians. Okay, they're trying to maybe save manoeuvres further down the course, but that is an unforced error. That's pretty inexcusable.
Same for the US SailGP team. They also pick up a penalty.
You can't afford to throw away metres at this level of the sport. They've now got the right of way here. Great Britain have got to keep clear. All this does is give the boats behind a chance. That includes the black foils. That includes the ruse. And you don't give those teams a free chance.
Well, Hannah, you talked about boats separating themselves, and at that time you were talking about Germany and Mubadala Brazil. It's Canada now that has separated themselves, and Giles Scott.
Yeah, and sometimes if you can find a bit of space on the course, even if the wind's not totally in your favour, just having the space to sail the boat nicely, have a bit more headspace to make the best decision.
Oh, it looks like that. We've got a tight incident coming, but just as we went off screen, the US team, I think they just had a massive incident. Top right-hand side of our screen, they got really loose on the foils, very high. Rudders seemed to ventilate. Looked like they got air around the foils on the rudder. Lost control. Disaster for the US team. Just got way loose there. And already now, Emirates Great Britain are up to 3rd, New Zealand in 4th, and it's just a big mistake by that US team.
And they are dropping precipitously from 4th place now to 10th as they are off the foils. There you see the angle the Americans are sailing at. They've got to get this thing right.
I think as soon as you fall off the foils, if I'm right in saying, Hannah, you get big spread. The boat fills up with water, so you've got to get water out of the boat to get going again.
Yeah, not only are you having to rebuild your speed, you're also having to try and make your way down the course as well. So big loss for the Americans there.
So it is Canada that now takes over 1st place, as they will have a nice cross here, but they will be ahead of the Germans, who were in 1st. They've dropped back to 2nd.
Right, bit of a test of strength now here. We go. Brazil are getting close to the boundary there, so they need to start heading in towards here, building speed. They're accelerating for another maneuver, and they're going to head back towards that San Francisco shoreline, but they need to start smoothing out these maneuvers because they're losing places.
Boy.
This is the umpires. Italy penalty. Port tack boat not keeping clear. Go behind Australia.
Oh, painful for the Italians there. Carl Langford, wing trimmer, used to be on the Australian boat. He'll hate that. He's going to have to pay that penalty a little bit further back. We're going to get to see a little bit of a replay on that. You can see here the Italians, they turn the boat. They're turning onto the give-way tack. They're turning onto port, and if they're not in the boundary, a little bit too smooth. And that was a big, big judgment call there by the Italians. Too risky. We're on board the US. Look, mid-maneuver, they're crossing the boat. Rudder comes out. Look at that. And the whole thing lets go. Just got super loose into the maneuver there. Flying too high, too much heel in the boat as well as they cross. That's just miscommunication between the three at the back of the boat.
So now we're back to live racing action. This is race number 2, leg 5 of 6, the penultimate leg, and it is Canada that's got about a 100-meter lead. They've got another maneuver, maybe 2, Stevie, as they'll have to make that left-hand turn. Believe me, that is North Star Canada flying the Rockwell colors for Denmark, unable to go this weekend because of damage to their boat in Los Angeles. And it looks like Canada, if they can hold on to this, it's going to be a big victory for them in race 2.
Yeah, they're really well positioned here. One more maneuver for the Canadians. Great Britain there. They're basically saying with that maneuver, we'd be happy to take a second here. Trying to set up just one more maneuver. Yeah, Giles there, 1 and in. One more maneuver and we'll be into this final turning, Mark. So the Canadians, well, they've not over-celebrated in LA by the look of it. They're pretty much back on form here.
That goes with a 5th that they got in race number 1. So a 5 and a 1 for them would give them some serious points. As you look at France, still back in 11th place, the winners of race number 1. Australia has somewhat right the ship. They are up to 4th place.
Yeah, New Zealand got a little bit out of shape. They were doing well. They're middle of our screen now, sat in 7th here. It's Australia, it's really Great Britain that are the big movers in this race. They've done a fantastic job of finding the opportunities. Seems to be a bit more wind where the Great Britain team are at the moment.
So Canada will take the win in race number 2 here in San Francisco. As the Canadians come to the line, your Emirates winning moment will go the way of North Star Canada as they get the win. And look at this, you've got
Australia dives inside. Todd,
inside
Australia
of the
had
Germans.
the right of way. They had the right of way. He took that chance. He's past
This is
the
the umpires.
Germans.
Penalty Germany.
It didn't
not giving
keep
room
clear.
at the mark. Go behind Australia.
Yeah, that's gone. That's penalty gone in a blink of an eye because the Aussies were ahead of them anyway. But what a move by Slingsby, and another place drop back for the Germans. They'll be disappointed there. No love loss indeed. Spain up to 6th as Australia take a 3rd, and they were right at the back of the pack at Mark 1.
Excellent counter, guys.
So it's Switzerland that gets 5, Spain gets 6, and the rest of the fleet comes through. Brazil has worked their way back up to 7th. Well, not a big performance for the Kiwis.
No, they got themselves back in the race, but I think you can just quite easily get tangled up, a bit like we saw with Brazil and Germany. They slowed each other up, and it's quite hard. As soon as you're back in the pack and you're not on plan A, then you are at the whim of the other boats. Other boats can control you a bit. You can't control your decisions once you're back. So New Zealand need to get back to drawing board. 2 bad starts. Race 1, they saved it. Race 2, well, he hasn't been able to pull that rabbit from the hat.
And for the Americans, it is another dead last performance as France comes in. They salvage a 10th after winning the first race. The USA goes 11 and 11 with 2 more races to go.
As you change through the tide lines, that'll be having an effect. We can see this tide line right down the middle of our course here. Slight difference in colour, slight white line. And either side of that, there's advantage to be found. Phil Robertson, well, he said he's behind enemy lines, but he seems to know his way around.
Phil Robertson on his 3rd team in his foray here in SailGP, was with China, was with Spain, and here he is. He's found a home in Canada. And it's a pretty strong team that he's got put together with Annie Hager and CJ.
Yeah, it's a really solid team, and we have seen them make multiple finals this season. But every single time they come 3rd.
Here we are, 40 seconds to go, Todd, until the final start. The blue marks on the screen moving from top of our screen to the bottom. That's the current on the water. That's the treadmill that's lifting the boats all up this way. Giles Scott on Great Britain. He'll like the space he has right now, but all the boats are well spread out. I think I'd rather be starting at the top end of the line on our screen. It's the more downwind end, but it's nearer the top of our screen. Canada and Great Britain, they're in a fight. It's all about winding it up now. Pole Predictor has the Canadians in the optimum position at the minute, but Giles Scott shuts the door. Here we go. 10 seconds to go. New Zealand show us the favourites. Can they execute from here? It's all about timing now. Line's going to turn white. How's your timing, Phil Robertson? Beautiful from the Canadians, but they put the bow in. How costly will that slowdown be? On the inside, it's New Zealand. Tactically, they have the right of way, but Canada and Great Britain, can they wind it up? Can they get enough speed to roll over? I think New Zealand are going to lead at Mark 1.
As they approach mark number 1, they go 3 wide here in the event final at the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix. It's New Zealand, it's Canada, and it's Emirates GBR.
Oh, look at that. New Zealand had the right of way, and they forced the Canadians and the British high and wide here. New Zealand are going to be comfortably in the lead. First manoeuvre for Canada. Can New Zealand stick this manoeuvre? Pressure on. Great move by Canada. New Zealand match perfectly executed, and right now, big advantage to New Zealand. They hold the trump card.
Advantage to New Zealand, but the Canadians are the fastest boat on the course.
It's a left now, favourite, Josh. Even, you said.
Well, there we go. He's talking there. That's Phil. That's Peter Burling talking to Josh Jr. on the shore. They're talking about where the wind is at the moment. What direction is it? Slight disagreement on board there, but right now I think the priority's matching Canada. If New Zealand can exit the same mark as Canada, which is going to be a right turn for all the boats, I would suggest, then New Zealand will have a big controlling advantage. He'll turn. New Zealand are going to be faster coming in here.
Do you split the course?
Well, I think Great Britain definitely splits the course from here. Canada have got a harder decision to make. An extra manoeuvre could be costly at this stage. Time to roll the dice for Great Britain, but New Zealand, keep it tight, hang around, see if the Kiwis make a mistake.
And the Brits have to make one more manoeuvre, so they decide to split the course, but Stevie, it's going to cost them a lot of time and distance because they were late to make that decision, waiting to see what Burling and Robertson were going to do.
Yeah, well, they were out the back, and if you follow in third, that's a lot of disturbed wind. We can see now Canada, they're right dropping down into the disturbed air of New Zealand. New Zealand will look to turn with the Canadians here. They'll all head back towards the side of the course where Giles Scott's British team are, and now the British need a little bit of luck. They need there to be a bit more breeze there. Is it luck or is it skill, though?
And there we go. At the moment, we have a little bit more breeze with the Kiwis at the top of the screen, but only marginally so. The big question is going to be, what is the tide doing at the moment? We've heard that is currently ripping out of the Hudson River. The models had it better Governor's Island side, but that does change.
Ripping out the river, so that means it's moving from left to right on our screen. It's helping them up the course. It's giving them a little free ride up there. But what that also does is it increases the wind speed relatively felt by the boats, and more wind is, of course, good news. So more current, if it's helping you up there, is going to be good news. So still Great Britain are out of phase. They're in the race, Todd, but New Zealand are going to be keeping a tight eye on Canada. They'll look to manoeuvre directly in front of them next time.
All 3 boats within 100 meters of each other as we go down on the water. Lisa Darman, and where's the pressure coming from? Where do you want to put your boat?
I really think a right turn at the next gate is going to be strong. I think there's a little bit more pressure out of there, and then you're not fighting the current as much if Emily's models are correct. But, you know, New Zealand, they obviously they're doing better maneuvers than everybody else, and I think they're just getting a little bit of a jump. And even in the fleet racing, I thought they're upwind mode, so what they're doing now, it looks really slick. They're sailing higher angles than anyone else.
Well, and they just set it up so well. We're on board here, T-Mobile 5G POV camera, and they're pushing it high on the ride height. That rudder in the back right-hand corner, you can see it shaking around. It's right on the rev limiter there. But I think what they've done well is they put a careful move in above the Canadians on the first turn out of gate 2, and they set it up to just lamp right in front of them and totally block the wind onto Canada the whole way across here. So it's a big gain for New Zealand, total control. Canada are going to have to turn right at the top. Does the New Zealand boat set up to turn to the right? I think they might go left turn, an early manoeuvre on board New Zealand.
The Kiwis with Blair Tuke and Peter Burling directing the black foils around. They make the turn, and it is a left for them as Canada and Emirates GBR still not quite there yet. And this is dangerous times for the rest of the competition because if Pete Burling finds open space and good wind, Stevie, he will check out and be gone.
Without being too putting the kiss of death on him, this race is done, barring a mistake from the New Zealand boat. Now they've got a big enough lead that they can easily cover off any move by the boats behind. It's just about executing manoeuvres, so it's really a race for second here. Canada have sailed a lot of extra distance to take that right turn. That's advantage Great Britain now. New Zealand, well, it's just a bit of a masterclass for the black foils at the moment.
Right now, priority for the Canadians is holding on to that second place. We've seen them too many times hand it up, get a third, and right now there is that really tight battle in the middle of the fleet on that overall scoreboard. And if you look at that scoreboard, currently they're at the bottom of the rankings of those 4 teams at risk of losing their spot next season.
Canada has been into the event final 3 times this year and yet to close the deal. Right now, master class is being applied to the rest of the field as Peter Burling and the Kiwis, the black foils, Stevie, they get away from everyone. It's almost like they have agoraphobia. They don't want to be around people, stay away from us, and they just do their own thing.
Well, they're just quite fast, aren't they? I mean, you know, the criticism I've always had for them is that they're not been very good at the starting in the fleet racing, and they've made it hard for themselves. But in the 3 boats, Pete's been on fire and a brilliant start. Don't underestimate how well he nailed that start. In total control, they've been able to dominate.
And the numbers are showing exactly that at the moment. They're 1.5K an hour average, faster speed than the other 2 boats. They've also sailed less distance.
So the wind remaining consistent throughout the day here on the second day of racing at the Mubudla New York Sail Grand Prix in New York Harbor, New Zealand, Canada, and GBR in the event final. On board underneath Emirates GBR with the T-Mobile 5G cam, and right now this is not the view that Giles Scott and Hannah Mills were looking for. Winners of the last event in Halifax, they are losing distance quickly to the front runners, the Kiwis and the Canadians.
Yeah, I mean, they were forced their hand at gate 2. I think it was fair enough to roll the dice at that stage. It was always going to be pretty hard once you're out the back, and we can see it's a slight case of, you know, the boat ahead's just got that advantageous position. New Zealand, they've managed to push well in. They don't want to get too close to that shoreline in case there's a bit less breeze, but I think Lisa's saying that there wasn't too bad. The wind seems relatively even on the course now, Lisa.
Yeah, it's definitely even across the racetrack, and because the foiling maneuvers are a little bit easier because the breeze has just picked up in general, it means the differential isn't as bad. Everyone seems to be sticking these maneuvers, but you know, these storms are brewing, so we're really lucky that we got racing in today, and New Zealand's just looking just way slicker than everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's the word of the day, slick, as Peter Burling and team just go about their business. There you see the ripples on the water, Stevie. They just seem to be like a magnet attracted to that. They find the pressure and then they accelerate. We've seen them come out of starts in 7th, 8th place, and they end up, well, you know, top 3.
Well, they're just sailing well. I mean, I think while we're watching this, you see how accurately the boat is. The boat's tipped way towards the crew there. They're gaining maximum righting moment off that boat, maximum leverage on the foils. And I just think, have a minute to look at this. We're racing these F50s in front of the Statue of Liberty, Manhattan in the background. It's unbelievable, the scenes out here. And I think it's a performance fitting of the scene that it's happening in front of on board the New Zealand boat at the moment. Andy Maloney, across he goes. He's going to be happy out there. They're well lined up for that gate. We can see the 2 marks in front. Probably only 2 more good manoeuvres for the New Zealand crew stand between them and the big prize in the Big Apple.
As they approach gate number 5, it is Pistol Pete and the Kiwis as they will make the long ride back up the course, and then it's a quick right-hand turn in front of Governor's Island and the Adrenaline Lounge. Just look how quickly and how smooth they make the transitions. Oh, it's like it's on rails.
Yeah. But I think as soon as they're out in front like that as well, there's just the time to have the calm temper. Their comms on board are always very impressive.
Right.
But we saw in a race yesterday when they were in a tight tussle with the Swiss, they pulled off a manoeuvre where it all looked a bit rushed and they paid the price. But the Canadians here, they're going to be happy with this second place. They've sailed well in this race, but to be honest, when you're up against the best, you can sail well, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's good enough.
You guys see the G-forces, how tough it is to make that transition on a turn. Phil Robertson comes over, takes the wheel.
Yeah, it's the grinders at the front of the boat that have to run across when the whole boat's turning. I think the fact they hang on is absolutely unbelievable. Final manoeuvre for the New Zealand crew here. Should be bread and butter for them in front of the fans to bring it home.
Mark number 6, and it is the Kiwis, the black foils, that'll bring it home and claim yet another victory here in season number 4, and they have punched their ticket into the grand final. Regardless of what happens in the racing in the Pacific Ocean in a few weeks' time, the Kiwis will have an opportunity to fight for the title. That is an amazing performance. That's 5 wins out of 12 events. The Kiwis take the win in New York City.
And that will put them in with 93 points going into this final.
Amazing performance. They came in with an 11-point lead over Spain. They increased that. Great showing by Phil Robertson and the Canadians. As they get into the event final, they will finish in second, and they will take home 9 event points, or season points.
Yep, heading there now.
Emirates GBR will finish in 3rd. So back-to-back finals for the Brits as they win in Halifax and finish 3rd in New York City.
Well, it's good consistency for the Emirates Great Britain team. I think they're going to be pretty happy out there. I think all the teams are going to be happy. But for me, when we look ahead to San Francisco, the timing of Peter Burling on that start absolutely nailed it.